I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I believe Deshaun Watson is as good as Patrick Mahomes, because Mahomes is the best I've ever seen. But I will make this statement. If it was Deshaun Watson who was going to be the quarterback in Kansas City for the next 12 years instead of Mahomes, maybe the numbers wouldn't all look quite as good. But I believe they would do just as much winning. I don't think you win any less with Deshaun Watson than you do with Mahomes. And that is not in any way a diminishment or a diminution of my feelings about Mahomes. It is about just how high I am on Deshaun Watson and have been for a while. So that's my statement as I bring Neek back into the conversation here. And who else? I got Lewis and I got Schefter. I'm looking at the look on your face, Domonique. Here's the statement again. Deshaun Watson, you don't win any less with him than you do with Patrick Mahomes. Am I crazy?
You're not crazy, but you're wrong. I heard you say that this is an example of how high you are on Deshaun Watson. I think high is the operative word right there. So I think Deshaun Watson is great. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sell him short. I think he is great. But what Patrick Mahomes is something different. And I think it's hard to point it out with particular stats necessarily, but I think it's important to understand that we give a lot of credit or we give a lot of blame to the Texans' offensive line. Over the past 2 seasons, they have been 7th in pass protection. Somehow, over that period, Deshaun Watson has been sacked more than anybody else. So if we're looking to be critical of Deshaun Watson, whereas there's no way to be critical of Patrick Mahomes, the criticism for Deshaun Watson, as minute as it is he holds on to the ball too long. And that's a problem because, like I mentioned, he leads the league over that period in being sacked, and that does expose you to some injuries. So if you're talking about success and winning as much, that means your quarterback needs to be on the field. And I understand that Mahomes got hurt last year and he's not perfect, but it does raise the probability. And I think it's also important to point out, to the point that he holds on to the ball too long, he's been sacked 35 times on plays that take, or dropbacks that take more than 3 seconds. That's only happened to Mahomes 8 times. So I think that's one thing you can point to. And the other thing I would point to is there are just some plays that Watson can't make with his arm strength. And I rewatched this morning because I was starting to second guess myself. I rewatched a ton of Mahomes' great plays in last year's playoffs. And there are just things that he can do that Deshaun Watson can't. And maybe the argument is maybe they wouldn't ask Watson to do those same things, but it was not a product of Andy Reid's play design. It was Mahomes in many cases, not just this play, in many cases in key moments, the play didn't work. Mahomes bought time and then threw it off his back foot 60 yards downfield. As much as I love Deshaun Watson, he can't do that, Greeny. Well, maybe they wouldn't be in that situation with Watson, but we've seen it pan out. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback that any of us have ever seen, and maybe it's credit to the staff, maybe it's credit to the people around him. We haven't seen that out of Watson, but I think it's a stretch to say they will win the same amount. That's far-fetched to me.
Go ahead,
Patrick
Schefter.
Mahomes is something different. He's special.
Jump in, Schefter.
I would just say we could point to plays that Deshaun Watson has made as well. I go back to the playoff game when we were down in Houston when they were playing the Bills, and he had that play, I think it was on 3rd and long, where he scrambled around and made things happen. There are all sorts of plays that Deshaun Watson has made that some quarterbacks can't make. Now, I think Mahomes is the most gifted thrower in all of football. He's the best quarterback in all of football. But the way that Deshaun Watson plays is just a different brand of winning football. And he would win in Kansas City. Mahomes would win in Kansas City. It's like saying, what would Peyton Manning have done with Bill Belichick? Well, what would Tom Brady have done with Tony Dungy? They're all great. We're talking about forms and variations of greatness with which, however they come out. And so to me, you're talking about 2 of the elite young talents, not just in football, but in all of sports.
Lewis, I'm running out of time. Go ahead. Last minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, you know how I feel about your surroundings and how that helps chart your course as far as what ultimately you accomplish as a football player, and particularly as a quarterback. And the circumstances and the way the table has been set for Pat in Kansas City is, I mean, it's absolutely perfect. And that is not in any way, because look, everybody knows how I feel about Pat Mahomes. That is not to diminish his natural athletic ability and his natural arm talent. And I don't necessarily like that phrase, but look, Pat's arm is like, it's go-go gadget, all right? It's bionic. There's something different about it. And you're right, Deshaun doesn't have that. But there's no way you could say that the table has been set for him the same way it was for Pat. And Deshaun would win immensely if he was in that environment in Kansas City. There's no question about it. But I don't think we're ever going to argue the fact that he is not as talented throwing the football as Pat Mahomes. Maybe nobody ever has been. then.
Nick, I have 10 seconds. Go.
Yeah, Schefter was right. Watson does special things. He got kicked in the face and threw a touchdown pass. But we end this argument with one question. It's rhetorical. Pick a quarterback, everybody, right now. You don't even have to say it because I know what the answer is. Pick one. It's Mahomes.
No one's arguing that.
That's like everyone on earth.
I hear you. Mahomes is the best. But Watson just wins. There's just something, I hate making that argument. There's some guys who just win, and he just does. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.